Hello, everybody. It's Friday.
Oh,
I'm checking just to make sure we're propagating as usual. I'm checking YouTube. Looks
I'm checking
good.
on Twitter. We're okay on Twitter.
Good. Oh yeah, sorry. I just said the word YouTube, but I was checking Twitter as I did it. But yeah, it looks like
Okay.
we're good here too. All right, good. All right, so hi. It's good to be back here. I haven't done this in a few weeks. Uh, how you guys doing?
Good. I mean, I feel like I haven't done this even longer than you have. It's been a while.
Good. Thank you.
You guys are finishing a big sprint, Kyle.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably got like 2 more weeks, but it'll be nice once we're done, and then I can go a little bit more full steam on Cardano. So.
Here's our guy.
Nope.
There we go.
Hey,
So
man.
Fashionably late.
I hope you were enjoying EFL 65.
No, get out of here.
Blue Daddy.
What stays in the private, behind seats.
Well, we are happy to be here. We're an organization called Gimbalabs. If we haven't met anybody who's watching this, and we do this every Friday to share out about our progress. We like to share some shout outs to other community members and organizations that have been helping us on our journey. Give you a little update on what we've done this week, and then outline our next steps and suggest some next steps to you. And we always like to finish with some Q&A. So if you're watching this live, we welcome you to put comments in the YouTube chat. And if you're watching this after the fact, please be in touch. So let's jump right into some shout outs. I think we got Roberto first. So I'm glad you popped in.
Yeah, I want to shout out to all the guys that are joining every week the After Town Hall Spanish Circle. We are trying to, put together some plans to give more presence and let's say influence on the Cardano community for all these Spanish speakers, which we are not the best English speakers, most of us. So we need to support each other and to participate on Catalyst, which is mainly English based, although we now have the Catalyst sessions being translated live to different languages. So big shout out to Ajax from Innovation Group, who is the guy that is doing the Spanish one. Also Juan, Jaime Caso, Jaime Martinez. I encourage any Spanish speaker that is maybe it's watching this to join us and to plan together and propose things that Latin America and Spain needs Cardano too. So we need plenty of things to push, like just like in Africa and Asia, everywhere.
And I can take the next two. So big shout out, a whaley shout out to Cardano Whale and Satran. Cardano Whale because he was asking around if there was any proposal that they should say take a look at. I just linked the video of my proposal about the blockchain authentication mechanism, and without any prompt or anything, he said that was a gem. So because he has lots of followers, all of a sudden I had lots of positive feedback, and it's nice to have this kind of feedback. The second one is Satran, that is the author of the Cardano Java Lib. I'll tell more about this later on, but he's done an amazing job. So big shout out to him as well. It's a Java library. I am former Java and current Scala developer, so it's just a joy to have a nice library to be able to work with and do a lot of things. So thank you for all your artwork. That's really appreciated.
Plus one.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, I guess I'm next. So, I agree with Giovanni for sure. There have definitely been some nice little informational nuggets in that library to help even the .NET library. which kind of leads into the next shout out for Keith from Safe Pool and Lovelace Academy. So he's another .NET developer. Luckily, he's been able to take a year-long sabbatical from his employer, so he's been able to contribute and really start using Cardano Sharp. He's got a lot of good feedback, which is very much appreciated, and he's starting to come to me for feature requests, which is even more appreciated. So he's building a new CLI, which kind of encompasses equivalent to actually a few different binaries from IOHK. The better part of this, right, is this is a community-driven CLI. So, stake pool operators or just, Pluto script people out there, anybody who's really used to using the CLI and you have some ideas to, some quality of life items or things that you wish you were able to do easier with CLI, this is definitely the project to get your input in. So.
It's so awesome watching that partnership develop, and I've just admired Keith for a long time with his approach to building stuff and helping people learn. So it's just it's so exciting to see that coming out. And I just noticed, these bullet points are in the same order that we happen to be across the screen today. So there's a nice flow today, guys. Nice job. I wanted to give a shout out this week to OCG and to Ryan. OCG for two reasons. One, you've been going so deep into some really critical tech that it's going to help us with a lot of projects we're working on. It's identity-based work for anybody who's watching. We know this is a prerequisite for a lot of the functionality we want, and it's been really cool to watch you take months of conversations and research and start to turn it into working data types. It's really, really exciting. So as we've talked about individually, can't wait to get our hands on that and then to have it out there for the world to really start building on. And then also OCG for bringing Ryan into the mix. Ryan really helped us take some high-level plans and really turn them into a viable business strategy. This is ongoing work, and Ryan continues to contribute to it. But like everything we do, none of what we're doing can be done alone. And so you two guys are also serving an instrumental role in that. So thanks. More to come on all of that. All right, so let's go across the screen again, yeah?
Okay. So we finished a huge refactor for after integrating Argo CD. We need to customize the customized Dandelion project to be able to deploy each component separately, because in the beginning, when it was just a customized template, it was possible, but it wasn't like ideal or familiar or friendly for doing it. So we finished the refactor for the template, so you can deploy the full Dandelion, just a base Dandelion, or a customized one just by turning on, switching on a boolean in a config file. That will allow us to integrate more and more services, do deployments that fit use cases. Say you want just Cardano DB-Sync with Cardano Sharp powered API, then you don't need to deploy the whole thing, and you will be able to do it now more easily than before.
Beautiful.
So good.
Thanks, Roberto. The next one is mine. So I spent the last couple of weeks learning and working a lot with the Cardano wallet and with the library, the Java library I was mentioning earlier on from Satya, from Sadran. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of token minting, working with metadata. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And it's been a delightful experience to work with this Java library. So it only makes sense to talk about the following point about the .NET one.
Absolutely. So in Cardano Sharp, I have gotten the basics. The one thing that's kind of been holding the library back, which is getting that policy ID. So now we have basic native script support. With this, we can start actually minting tokens end to end. So you don't need to go and get your policy ID using the CLI anymore to mint a token. We can actually do that in the library. And this, again, this leads to minting and actually multi-sig. So this is very exciting stuff.
So exciting. And you know what? All of these things are related, and this is what I was just mentioning in my shout out a moment ago. We had a bunch of people come together to really think through the most important verticals that we're working on as an organization right now, all with an eye on, being self-sustaining so we can really grow in a realistic way. And the connections between all of these different projects that have been ongoing this week is really where the magic is, right? As Dandelion has this componentization technology on board, it's going to be easier for more people to contribute more components, which will in turn allow us to do more different things. So it's just so exciting to watch these different pieces come together, and more so every week. So thanks to everybody, you guys building stuff, the people who are supporting us to build stuff, and the people who are really figuring out how it all fits together.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to add, I mentioned how the Java library has, some really good information in there. A lot of the information as to how I was able to even wrap up native script support came from the Java library. So it definitely shines some light on some things that I was missing, which is awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah,
it's awesome
that process scales, right? We learn by looking at each other's work and building on it and making it better.
Now we can have sorry.
So Java is better, right?
No. No, that just comes down to developer. That has nothing to do with language. I can read Java and Rust, so
Java developers are better.
We need .NET developer that can write Python now.
Hey, we have Iron Python, so you better watch out. We can run Python in .NET. So I'll pull Daniel in if I have to. He'll write some Python.
I will wait for the Ruby implementation.
No, that is never going to happen. I will block that however I need to. Report that on GitHub, like in inappropriate code.
Okay, so next steps. Now that it's a bit easier to integrate components and enable them, I want to integrate. I hope I'm saying this okay. Heidrun, the project from Adosha, from Frogpool and his crew. I want to integrate a bit more our Postgres with the guild community approach. Probably Ray Wallet has a Cardano GraphQL helper, so that's probably going to become handy for someone. We also have the Yoroi backend GraphQL backend migration or something like that. We probably won't use it, but there are some other wallets planning to use it instead of querying the GraphQL directly. So why not? It should be easy to integrate. So we just add a new component and let people decide what to deploy.
And for me, the next point is back to Bluetooth. I've been busy on other fronts, so it's the time is almost ready to go back to catch up with the new evolutions of Bluetooth and a couple of videos from Lars that continues to make new material for the second wave of the Bluetooth Pioneer program, and there are definitely a couple of gems that need to be rewatched, especially around policy and related to time. It was one of these, for instance, is the time slot range that has now changed into POSIX. time. This requires a little bit of new study, definitely from the first wave. So I'm definitely going to go back to Plutus and learn a little bit about that. And this, I think, also prepares the stage for something from James.
Yeah, I'm excited to follow up from this meeting and spend the rest of my afternoon diving back in as well. And we have a growing group of people who are just coming together to start learning together. We have some project-based learning tasks that we've assigned ourselves, and Giovanni is already adding to that list as he identifies new needs. But what we really want to do is just have an ongoing list of tasks that anybody can contribute to by saying, hey, here's something that would be interesting for us to figure out. And then a group of people who can talk solution pathways together, because that's how we're all going to develop the expertise that the ecosystem needs to deliver on all of the work coming our way. So we have an open meeting. I think we got 8 thumbs ups. So that meeting is on for Monday, but we will record it and we will make sure that people who are interested but can't make it have access to what we talked about and other chances to get involved in some conversations.
Awesome. Okay. Well, do you want me to jump into my updates then?
Yes, please.
Cool. Okay. So Fund 6 is coming up about 2-3 weeks or so. At least, get the start of that. So Cardano Sharp is definitely going to have some proposals out there, which I'm working on, and I'll definitely expose a little more details soon. Ultimately, my main goal with Cardano Sharp moving forward, is adding support and then adding integration. So anywhere that .NET is already got a nice little foothold in, application services, stuff like that, anything that we can that makes sense to add Cardano to, I want to add like SDKs or APIs around to help fellow .NET developers ease the transition into a blockchain. Ultimately, there's a lot out there, so if we can make Cardano easier to adopt, then that's kind of my goal there. Other than that, ultimately, I do want to wrap up Fund 3 with a nice little demo for everybody. Ultimately, I will be demoing a prototype of a product that me and a fellow developer that I work with professionally. Finally, I'm pulling my buddies in and making them drink the juice, so to speak. So, he's helping me out with the demo, the prototype, and then we'll be definitely sharing a little bit more on that. I guess if you were in Gimbalabs yesterday, you kind of might have gotten the hint, which was probably a pretty strong hint. So some really exciting stuff there. And I can't wait to share what we can do. So
looking forward to playing with that, dude. Fund 5 Catalyst voting is underway. So I'll put up a list of some of our key proposals in just a moment. And we know that we have to do a better job connecting with people, storytelling, and making sure voters kind of get the idea for what we're trying to do. So that's on us over the next few weeks. And to be planning ahead for Fund 6. So there's been a lot of really good energy within our community of people starting to strategize around how we can take from our list of all the things we might do and turn those into priorities for proposals that we can write in Fund 6. And I'm really excited that we're going to have, the biggest group of people so far leading on proposals that are related to different elements of our work within Gimbalabs. So really fired up about that. So before we get to a little look at some of the Fund 5 stuff, just a little outline of next steps. As always, make sure you're staking to builders. If you're not sure who the builders are, here's 4 examples. Deploy to Dandelion. What's the best way to learn how to do that?
By the moment, there are 2 readmes on the repository. One, if you want to go the continuous deployment, way, which is argocd, argocd.md. And if you want to be a bit more lightweight, you can deploy just the Kubernetes manifest with the kubectl. We right today I had another conversation with Aldea DAO, which is this Latin American DAO that it's trying to bootstrap. We are putting together a plan for the first, probably the first independent dandelion deployment. So yeah, copy that.
As we will say again a few times over the next few weeks, make sure to vote in Catalyst. And if you need help thinking about what to vote about, make sure to reach out to different groups, whether it's the Swarm community or coming to town hall or checking out what people are talking about on Twitter and YouTube. Giovanni posted a video about the authentication mechanism this week. There's lots of good resources out there. I don't know what else you guys would add to that list. Where would you go to learn voting ideas?
Oh, definitely the voter tools that Lucio.
Yes.
I never remember the whole team, but those new tools to explore idea scale on a different way. That's it. Thank you. That's a beautiful way to get to know the proposals.
This thing is so good.
Yeah, I really like that tool. And of course, build with Cardano Sharp. I mean,
how do I do that?
Well, I mean, just like Roberto's Dandelion, if you head over to the developer portal for Cardano Foundation, you'll find both Cardano Sharp and Dandelion documentation over there. And I would point out soon, when I have a little bit more time, I definitely want to start doing some live streams, kind of maybe some Q&A or just some general demonstration on how to use Cardano Sharp. So I've used it so far. I think I've shared them random places, but ultimately in mobile apps and in the Unity game engine. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to get it into all of the .NET areas, so which is really cool.
I cannot wait to sign my first multi-sig transaction on a virtual world.
Yeah, I'm probably going to need your help with that one, to be honest. So yeah, that'll be fun.
I would come to Coding on Chain for that. That'd be really fun to learn together. Yep. Cool. So I want to open it up to Q&A as always. So if you have questions, drop those in the chat. And while we're waiting for those, let's talk a little bit about that campaign strategy. Okay, so we've been heads down, and sometimes that makes us a little bit aloof to what's going on, and that's our fault. We've been creating a lot of stuff, building a lot of systems, and maybe not always reaching out to people as much as we could. Parenthetically, Piotr, you've proven yourself able to learn pretty much anything. So, right, you decide. Kyle and I were talking about Vince and Piotr meeting up just to kind of talk ideas sometime. That would be really fun.
Yeah, that definitely needs to happen.
And that's not completely a detour. What we are trying to do here is build both a technical and a social infrastructure. And the technical work is really hard and really complex. It takes a lot of creativity and it takes a lot of foresight. And as hard as that technical work is, sometimes the social work is even harder, right? The slow work of bringing people aboard and building trust and learning how to work together. But I want to reiterate often over the next few weeks that our original mission and vision really haven't changed. These are the only thing we've changed here is the word protocol. This used to say platform, but we realized that it was more precise to use the word protocol. But the idea here is exactly what we've been trying to do all along. We want to mobilize as many people as possible by building stuff, right, that people in the Cardano community can use, that then in turn ignite the public imagination. Think about all of the people in the world who really don't have a clear picture of what blockchain is and what it can do yet. Think about all the people who have a conception of Bitcoin, but really have no idea what Cardano is doing to level up from Bitcoin. That's more than 99% of humans, probably, right? I mean, I need better numbers, but I mean, it's almost everybody. And we want to build stuff that helps anybody who doesn't really care about Cardano yet to look at it and say, oh, that's kind of interesting. Tell me more about that. And the reason we want to do that is because our vision is to see a world where as many different people as possible, not just us who are here right now, but as many people as possible, feel empowered and are empowered to solve real problems using the Cardano protocol. Solving the problems that we really haven't even identified yet. Solving the problems that the people who are heads down writing code just don't know about, right? Like those of us who are busy building the tech, we're not out there being, you know, doctors, lawyers, merchants, bakers, candlestick makers, all of that, right? We want to build stuff so that the people who really understand real problems can understand the potential of these tools to help with those problems. And IOG is working on that from kind of a corporate and national state perspective, right? CF is reaching out from the corporate perspective. Emergo is doing a great job training people. And we want to fill up the need where we're connecting with people in local communities, the small businesses who might not be able to get the attention of CF and IOG for all good reasons. We want to be able to deploy dozens and then hundreds of people across the world who don't rely on us, but who can build on what we've built to solve real problems in real places so that the world can get a little bit, you know, better to live in. Okay, and when I say that, one of the things I'm thinking about is I miss walking around downtown and going to shops. It's a simple thing, right? But Main Street in my town has a lot of closed stores. There's a lot of empty storefronts. And there's not many people walking around on Main Street because everybody's getting packages delivered from Amazon. I don't think Amazon has made my life better. And I think it's caused disconnection in my community. I think that this technology has a chance to reinvigorate local economies in a way that makes it better from just a life perspective to walk around on Main Street. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's animating my work, right? That's the end goal. All right, guys, so I just went off. I don't know what you want to add to the mission and vision, but that's really, for me, that's the why. That's why we're doing this. And that hasn't changed from the first day that I heard about Cardano.
Yeah, man, thank you for going off. I love when that happens, that you just go into the, not the, it might sound like a fairy tale, right? But we can really build the world in a different way, where big corporates that doesn't need to be the ones that rule our lives, which is what happens when too much centralization occur, right? You got banks, and you got states and deep states controlling everything just because that's how it works today. But what if we can work around those systems and start building our own new one, where we exchange value between all the people directly, one-on-one, or weren't too many, but setting our rules on smart contracts that allow us not just to show that what we are saying it's occurring because it's automated and its code is low, and if you claim you're donating to a charity, you can actually verify if I'm doing it, because on every transaction I do with one of my customers, 1% of it of the value goes to the charity directly and automatically, so it becomes the default, and it works bit by bit, and it's incorporated on the regular flow. I think it makes sustainable. We can make sustainable feedback loops, thinking locally and building globally. That's yeah. I think I also went a bit off now. That's my vision, our vision, and our mission.
I'm always grateful when you go off too.
I'll add a couple of things myself. For me, I realized that there is a word that has been attached to me in these days that all of a sudden makes so much sense to me, and that is pioneer. I started as a Plutus pioneer, and then I've been pioneering the Alonso, etc., etc. And for me, what I want to do is, because I believe the ecosystem, the blockchain, and this particular blockchain, because I think that can help to make many more systems much more fair or fairer, whatever the English is. And I want to pioneer in a way that, given my technical background, I want to take my traditional technical background into the blockchain ecosystem. So I want to help whoever is building things to have a simpler life and build better and faster in a faster way. So that's my goal. That's my objective. Is if I don't have an idea myself, I want to help other people realizing their ideas. So and I'm going to be doing this leveraging my 16 years of experience and the strength and the knowledge in this what is it? Hang on. This thing. Took 10 minutes only to do this. Come on, guys.
All right, I'll add, because since everyone else decided. Yeah, I mean, not much to like kind of pile on after all you guys' thoughts, but I think the one thing to like really pay attention to is what everyone is saying. Like what the motivating factors here are, right? It's not that we're trying to get rich. It's not that we're trying to, I don't know, just like any type of fame or like, I know that Giovanni isn't new, like an up and coming YouTube star. So, but I mean, ultimately, right, our motivators are not like selfish, right? Like everything we're trying to do, we see it as a way to, help others, right? Whether it's through skill sets or through even just a more fair approach to things. So, and I think this is where longevity is going to come from, right? Is having the right motivators. So, and I think that's something to really, pay attention to, is like what is motivating us. So,
and Kyle, I love it. It's so important to talk about longevity, and also for us to kind of be brave enough to say like our motivation is not selfish out loud, right? Because nobody should trust us on that. This is something we've been saying since the beginning, right? Nobody should trust us on these ideals, and the pressure we're putting on ourselves is to be true to what we're sitting here saying right now, right? And we all know that we're going to do it, and we also know that nobody should trust us on it yet and should hold us to account. But that's the journey, and our intention is to show this in the long term, and for everything we're saying right now to age well, so that 5 years, 10 years from now, people see, hey, but you're right, that wasn't selfish. There was something deeper going on there. So.
Yeah, and I think it also leads back to like what you're saying earlier, right? Where you have the the social aspects, right, versus kind of like the get it done aspects, right? And a lot of us have been kind of heads down, trying to get things done. Whether it's the Dandelion services that like really help any application developer. Giovanni, diving into Plutus, which that allows us, me and Roberto, to bridge our own expertises and like learn what we can do as experts in our field to leverage smart contracts, or me trying to build more of a gateway for the ecosystem that I'm used to. So, and and I don't know if we've really exposed Polyglot, but taking even what I've been able to learn in my own realm of technology and try to figure out how we can spread that to other technologies. So it's not to create proprietary information. I'm not trying to lock up information in my head. The best way, even if it is just coming out in C#, how can we get it for other languages, for other developers, right? That can there's a language built for different reasons all the time. So the best way to do that is to not make there be a language barrier to help the adoption really come. So
yeah, creating opportunities for others, right? We need to help many people to find new jobs. This tool might help to recover some of those that some corporations stole. Not the stole. You got me.
And this, I mean, to be more precise, it is selfish, right? It's just selfish about what? And for me, it's I want more laughter in my life because I want more togetherness in my life. Yeah, damn right, I want those things selfishly because that's the life I want to live. And when we talk about building the world we want to live in, that I guess there's an inherent selfishness in trying to create that world, right? But this is where it comes from. I want to live in a world where I have the satisfaction of finishing creating things, right? I guess that's selfish, but it's that satisfaction that I'm chasing, and if I can do that together, right? And yeah, exactly the same thing, right? I want to share pain and joy with people. That's why we're here. So, just really quick, we'll go deeper into these because I know we kind of took a lot of time to do that, but I think it's really important. I just want to revisit our Fund 4 proposal one more time. We failed to communicate this, right? And we just missed out on getting funded. But I want to bring this up one more time because we stand by the intention of this proposal, even though the proposal didn't quite make it. We believe that we need to build the capacity of the Cardano network, both from a technical and from a human perspective. And so that was our intention with Fund 4. That's the intention of both Dandelion, serving from the technical perspective, making these tools accessible to a bigger network of people. And it's the intention of the work we're doing in the playground and learning together, okay, how to use these tools and what the implications are. We stand by this problem statement and we recognize that we need to do a better job communicating this. So Steve, we're going to do one of those Twitter live things, aren't we? Next week, we'll make sure to broadcast that a little bit. But we were talking to Mercy from WADA yesterday. Steve, Mercy, me, and you guys, if you want to, and anybody else. The idea is just to go have a playground style conversation that's open to more people via Twitter Spaces. So you heard it here. Steve says absolutely, and we'll make sure to put that out there more. So just with all of this in mind, whoops. These are three of our critical Fund 5 proposals. I invite people to look at these challenges. I know this particular update has already gone long. I don't know how many people are even still going to be watching on the replay, but we've got a few people in the audience. Giovanni, you already made a video about the blockchain auth mechanism. Do you want to say a word or two about that here?
Yes, absolutely. the more I think about this feature, and the more I think there is an actual need about this, we need it in Dandelion, and we need it in many other places. There is something similar that's been suggested also in the CIP from Andrew Westberg for given a way for stake pool operators to authenticate themselves in a network. And this blends perfectly in. It's just seen from a different point of view. So like the sale pitch is something like this. In the traditional technical ecosystem, there is a centralized way of authenticating. So imagine your username and password, or your Google Auth or Twitter Auth that you can use to log in on other systems. These are all distributed but not decentralized way. So as with Cardano, we're moving towards a decentralized ecosystem with dApps, etc., keeping the traditional authentication mechanism inside the dApp doesn't make the dApp decentralized from the ground up. So we need to convert this little layer and create this little feature that is decentralized. So to give decentralized app, so that we can allow decentralized app to be decentralized from the ground up, and remove the centralization that reduces the chance of compromising and being and fault tolerant, so that the login server is down or broken. Thank you. That's it.
Just as you were saying that, I was thinking, like, even though this is maybe a new idea, and all of us are on our own journey of understanding the premise that you're describing with this, how long until this is just taken for granted, right? I mean, a year or two or 5 years from now, this authentication mechanism style is, we're all just going to be using it day to day, and hopefully it's going to change the way we think about and interact with online products.
I think, just to steal 30 more seconds, is that when people are now thinking about the products they want to build, they think about the feature, but then they always forget like how people are going to be recognized and authenticating on their systems. So all of a sudden, as soon as the smart contracts are there, everybody's going to be facing this issue, and they will not think twice about that. They will go username and password. But like, and then we're going to be always back to square one. If username and password are in a way compromised because of whichever, like identities, personal information, possibly funds are going to be at risk. So why just not like fix this thing once and for all and forget about it? It's like, guys, it's done. Just use it. And I have lots of ideas about this. I've talked to this with a couple of friends. I really hope to have this not only in Java Scala, but to have this in .NET. Because this guy here, Jesus, I always this way. This guy here is interested.
It's weird.
And then to have it in JavaScript, TypeScript, everything. I want clients and server developed in as many languages as possible. Yeah, it's a bridge, Quasar. This thing is going to be a bridge, is an enabler.
Yes.
Once the DeFi world is going to explode, they will need something. So it's just not strictly metadata. Metadata is like the next step, but is all together. So, yeah. Thanks for the question.
Yeah. And if you were, Quasar, if you were thinking if it's connected to the Dandelion API market, of course, this authentication mechanism is the base, 100%. It's what gonna allow us to sell tokens as mechanism of authentication for these API services, and will help us to, for example, perform better capacity planning for the infrastructure. So say I have sold 100 tokens for whatever decentralized application that uses GraphQL and uses IPFS. An average user takes like 1 gigabyte of storage for the IPFS cluster, whatever amount of requests for the GraphQL, then I can plan my capacity for those in the worst case, best case. And yeah, that's gonna be the dungeon keeper mechanism for dandelion deployments that will allow us to build some tokenomics around and deploy a network of these services that can serve as a high availability solution for light wallets or decentralized applications of any kind that require interacting with the blockchain and other satellite services that are not the blockchain, that are needed for the decentralized architectures like IPFS or whatever storage layer.
Yeah, I just want to like add on to the dandelion just concept in general, like where it's going, right? You know, I'll talk to random you know, people in the ecosystem, you know, whether they have a proposal or it's about Cardano Sharp or something that they are wanting to build, and you know, they'll point out like, yeah, I'm going to make an API, you know, to help me with this service, or like, you know, I'll use something like that cold API. I don't want to say the name, but like ultimately, when you build an application and you want to provide a service in a decentralized way, but your go-to is something that you're familiar with, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, Dandelion's a bridge to allow people like me who, like, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, like even right now, like I'm in a phone booth at my office. So, you know, when I'm done here, I'm going to go build centralized APIs for my company, right? But if you're trying to provide a public service that is going to leverage, you know, blockchain or just any type of decentralized concept, the first thing to do is get your API off of your server, right? Is you get it into other people's servers and have them host it for you. And whenever I have expressed this, you know, whether it's, you know, for instance, I was just talking to somebody with a proposal and they were going to have to build an API, and like, yeah, well, I'll have the API, but then, you know, the service will talk to my API. And I'm just like, well, where are you going to host this API? And they would say, oh, just on one of my servers. So I was like, well, what if it goes down? Like your whole network is down. So, and then that's when I, you know, to me, it's like I'm an evangelist for Dandelion at this point. It's like, well, have you heard about Dandelion? Here's my pamphlet, drink the juice, you know? But the Dandelion concept of being able to, you know, like, hey, I wrote an API and I need it hosted decentralized in a decentralized way. That has never, ever been like, yeah, maybe. No, it's been like, that is amazing. When can I start doing that? That is the only response I think I've ever gotten when talking about, I need to host a solution, and, oh, you mean I can put it like across like stake pool operators or just independent actors who can host this? You know, that is, I'm super excited. So when, you know, you have the blockchain authentication mechanism and Giovanni is, you know, talking about this, it's like, I want to give my time to help solve the solution. I want to give my time to help build the tools, because these are things that I want. So ultimately, I can invest in, over here, other you know, efforts that are going on in, you know, the Gimbalabs world or ecosystem, and by help contributing and help collaborating, you know, it's, you know, I may not be I mean, you know, I take it back. I do work a little selfishly, right? Like I have selfish interests. I want this technology. So, you know, I just wanted to put that out there, right? Like Dandelion has a very strong argument to be made against anyone trying to build a service. But all you do is result right back to what Giovanni is saying. Like you're going back to the centralized ways. Like, yeah, you're sprinkling decentralization, but you're not taking advantage of what it can give you. If you're sprinkling it in, you're doing it for buzzwords, right? If you're going to embrace it, you're going to see the benefits, and that's the difference. Do you want to be hyped up, or do you want to show the real power of like what the application can do for people? So,
thank you. Thank you for those. That's a great way to put it. And thank you, James, for that image, because it's, for me, Visual metaphors are powerful. That one is all I had on mind, right? I plant my seed, but all I want to do is this seed to be spread and help other gardens to grow beautiful places for other people. Yeah, that's my my poetic time for today.
Man, I love the name dandelions so much. It's just so brilliant, and like, yeah, I need to get a picture of my kids blowing dandelions around next spring to make sure that and to share those. But seriously, and I've been thinking a lot about this. Goes back to the idea of selfishness, right? Like, there's ways to be selfish where you're just acting in your best interest, again, about the world you want to live in. And then there's the kind of selfishness that tries to capture the value of doing something. We've started to talk about this internally, but Dandelion is not obsessed like some of the tech giants are with capturing all the value that it produces, right? Like, that's the other thing I love about this image. Who knows where those seeds are going? And we're not concerned. We're just happy they're there, right? And again, you shouldn't trust us on that. Like, watch for the next few years and hold us to account. But this is it, right? We want to send value out into the world, to send opportunity out into the world, and yeah, live well for doing so. But also, it's not about trying to capture every one of those seeds and make sure that it comes back to us somehow.
Yeah, it's not about modifying them genetically so people need to buy something from us to keep growing the seeds.
That's right. All right, that was really fun. Any last words, Joe?
Yes, please put the last question message. Who's your dandelion? That's what you need to ask yourself. Who's gonna be your operator for whatever decentralized application you want to build? Is it gonna be your Proof of Africa staple operator? It's gonna be Giovanni because he's one of the original gangsters of Dandelion. It's a really good dandy candidate. Who's gonna be?
And like, A's understood it from day one. A taught me about the need for sovereign identity solutions before I really understood it, and so all these different pieces that we've all been learning from each other.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I know it's a funny question, but like, when you use a service that could be using Dandelion, right? It's like, if we think about decentralization. Sorry, I'm going to try to keep this tangent real short. When you talk about decentralization, a lot of the times it's all about ownership, right? Because when we can decentralize, our services and our data, a lot of times what that really means is that you have a lot more control over your data and your services that you use, and that's what Dandelion can really do for the end user, right? If you're using a wallet, wink, wink, and then that is leveraging Dandelion. Let's say you're staking, right, to a pool that runs a Dandelion node, you could make sure that your wallet uses the Dandelion, right? That because this is where your stake pool operator isn't just going to get your delegation, but they're going to get your service, right? You're going to show that I appreciate that you're hosting this, and and basically as that thank you, it's like, I want to make sure that when I pay my fees, that my fees are going to you. Right, like you are actually able to designate like who you pay. Like, you control your money, you control your actions. So, I drank the juice pretty hard. So the analogy is too good for me right now. So
Dandelion.
I know a wallet that it's already implementing that Dandelion or endpoint selection, which is the C64.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean that's the type of like services, wallets, whatever applications that I think when things start clicking for people, they're going to look for those. Like those are the ones that people are going to ask like, well, how like what's your like I mean it's not as simple as like what's your backend, but like like are you using Dandelion? Like what I mean like that can be like a badge of honor for applications. It's like I'm a Dandelion, app or something.
That's your backbone.
Yeah.
For the...
Mm-hmm. This probably requires a deeper dive, but any surface level ideas here?
Yeah, that's something that needs to be, in my humble opinion, I wouldn't use the same wallet. I wouldn't use my economic identity for trivial things. Well, not trivial things, but I would mix my Access wallet with my savings wallet, and that's probably an idea that Kyle can expand because we've been talking about how to rethink wallets and how to rethink UTXOs, maybe dedicate some the same wallet, maybe the same wallet but a different account inside the same wallet. I mean, with wallet I mean keys derivative from the same mnemonics but using different UTXO sets for different things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whenever my brain has a chance to just wander, it kind of goes down the rabbit hole of what can we really do with wallets. And like, let's not even talk about wallets. Let's just talk about like your keys, right? Like your private and public keys. So, you have your mnemonic, right? And the one thing that, you can go into the world of accounts, but another thing you can do, which I believe Treasure is the only one, or like basically hardware wallets are the ones that leverage this particular piece of the specification, is the fact that you can accompany your words with a passphrase, right? And I would almost don't even call it a passphrase. Call it like a title or a name or a description, because when you accompany your words with such like a string, whatever it is, you immediately change what you're producing, right? So if I have my words and I basically, let's say it's something as simple as here are my words, and then like here is I put in Gimbalabs, right? So all the keys that I'm producing, sure, they could be used for ADA, they could be used for Bitcoin, they could be used for whatever I want it to be used for. I don't have to follow BIP44. I don't have to follow basically SIP 1852, which all these are just like the descriptive ways of how we define what an HD wallet is. Well, there's things like carry, right? So it's when you talk about identity. What's the difference? There's not much. What you're really doing is you're talking about private and public keys. So how you get these private and public keys are all defined based off of whatever specification you want to follow. Well, when I give it a different title every time, right? Like say it is an ADA wallet, and I get that initial, address. If I put Gimbalabs, or if I put Gimbal, or if I put Cardano Sharp, I'm gonna get a different key set every time, and that's pretty important, right? Because then, you talk about wallet discovery with wallets, and I think wallets are really dumbed down for a reason, and it's because these concepts are, you when you play with people's money, right? It's the it's good that people have control over their money, and the bank doesn't necessarily have that control. But when you want more power and more control, you run the risk of not fully understanding what you're getting yourself into, and you may think that you lost your money, right? So if I decide to do multi-delegation, and we do that through the form of accounts, and you use my wallet to do that, and then you go to your Roy or Daedalus, you're going to think you lost money, when in reality they're just not looking there. Like that's what it comes down to, is you need to know where to look, which is kind of great, right? to a certain point when you're saying that, like, you mean I can hide stuff using words? It's like, absolutely. If you know kind of what other wallets are doing, you can hide stuff from them, right? I can give you a mnemonic. I could put 1,000,000 ADA in there. I guarantee you'll never find it. Just because I know where I could put something, and like I could even make a wallet that has mnemonic words sprinkled throughout it, that if you were able to find those mnemonic words, that you could get the reward of that wallet. And that sounds like a great challenge, James. But but the point is, like, you can do a lot of things that the majority of people will never figure out how to. You could hand them the keys to the castle and they'll never find anything. So
yeah, that's a good gincana for your children to discover where it's there.
yeah, there you go. I'm not going to just give them my money. They're going to have to like work for it. Learn my life's work, and then you'll reap the benefits.
Oh my God! Actually, that sounds pretty fun, man. I can't wait to share this stuff with my kids. Can't wait. Hey, Ron. Yeah, for anybody, so wow, this is the first time we've ever crossed the 1 hour mark. We probably should shut down soon. But as bonus content for anybody who makes it to this point, Gimbalabs and Spakra are excited to see anybody who can make it to Wyoming. Let's just put it that way for now. Right? Is that too much? Am I allowed to say that much? But see you there hopefully soon after we get some official announcements at the end of the week. Yeah, exactly. No, I think your daughter, Ron, has been has probably learned probably more than I have over the last few weeks, sitting in on some of these meetings. All right. Hey, thanks for sticking around, everybody. If you're watching this asynchronously, do reach out. There's a link to our Discord on gimbalabs.com. Or just find us by pinging us on Twitter or commenting on this video if you need more information about anything we've been talking about today. Guys, thanks for the marathon, and see you real soon. Take care, everybody.
Have a good day.